What?
Kind of bossy, aren't you? When you're not.
Kind of bossy. I just try not to worry about stuff. I'm thinking about things. Sorry.
I'm just giving you a hard time. I'm not serious.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
That wouldn't be very nice if I was serious.
No. No offense taken.
Okay. Minimize the use of things.
Beg your pardon?
Can I just minimize this?
No, you don't need to minimize. Shouldn't need to minimize anything. Just like you. So, do you see the Chrome screen come up? The browser for the YouTube login. Yeah, you shouldn't need to minimize anything. You should just click those three dots down at the lower lower right. Click the three dots and then.
It's already live.
We are live.
No, if it was actually like local or if that was some.
Okay, you're already up. Yeah, you're streaming. Good. Okay. Thank you.
And the sky this morning was also.
Yeah, they said it's supposed to be there last night.
Thanks, Alyssa. It looks like it.
My
Working
eyes were
well.
burning so bad last Thursday, and it just did get like in half an hour. It's when it just started coming in this building.
Dan.
In town?
Oh, that's it. Oh, yeah.
Oh my God. That's minimal stuff.
9 a.m. Good morning, everyone. It is 9 a.m. I am going to call the meeting of the Codington County Board of Commissioners to order. It is Tuesday, August 3rd, 2021, and we do have Commissioner Gable zooming in with us again this morning. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance, and Cindy, would you lead us today, please?
Want to have Jason do it?
Oh, yeah, good idea. Okay, Jason, we'll let you.
Pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you, JC.
I'll be here next week.
Yeah, that's okay. Thanks for that. Item number 2, call for public comment. Also, we are streaming live on YouTube, and if you have a cell phone, if you would silence it. If you need to take a call, please step out to do so. Call for public comment are items that are not on the agenda and for information only. The 2 phone numbers that individuals can still call in if they would so choose are 882-6248 or 882-6297. Conflict of interest items. Are there any for any fellow commissioners on the agenda?
No.
All right. Item number 4, action to approve the August 3rd, 2021 agenda.
So moved.
Motion by Van Duzen,
Second.
second by Gable.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
That motion carries. Item number 5, action to approve the July 27th, 2021 minutes of the Board of Codington County Commissioners.
So moved.
Motion by Johnson,
Second.
second by Gable. Are there
I'll
any
second.
additions or corrections? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? That motion carries.
Jody
right.
will not be here, but
Okay.
Jason's going to.
All right, we will have a update or information today or this morning on 4-H Achievement Days with JC Orthouse. So if you'd want to come forward and you can sit in one of the chairs, we'll turn.
Push. Yep.
Other side.
There you go.
There you go.
Go ahead and sit down and. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Good morning.
Well, me and Myron go way back with the 4-H Promotion and Expansion Committee, so it's nice seeing you again. Well, good morning. I'm Jace Yardhouse, and I belong to the Country Ramblers 4-H Club. I'm a 10-year member, so that means this is my last year, sadly. And I'm going to be a freshman at Minnesota State University, Mankato, and I'm going to study business finance. I have explored many different project areas throughout all my years of 4-H, and I'm so grateful for the opportunities that this program has granted me. We kicked off Achievement Days last night, actually. All exhibits were judged. And so that was really fun to see all the young members run around and get their projects all judged, and fun to see their faces with that. The exhibits is open for the public to see today and tomorrow from 9 to 8 and Thursday from 9 to 2. There's a public 4-H barbecue Wednesday the 4th starting at 5 and ending at 7. For anyone who would like to join us, it's super fun. There's a live band, and afterwards there's going to be a little fashion review show that all the little 4-Hers love to show off their outfits with. There's also a livestock premium sale the Thursday the 5th with the meal starting at 5:30 and the sale starting at 6. So it's a busy week for us 4-H members, and there is animal shows starting today at 9 actually with companion animals. So all the cats, hamsters, and anything else that anyone brings in. It's always fun to see that show, what people walk in the door with. And then animals will be brought in tonight. So super busy day for us all. And all the bigger livestock starting tomorrow at 9, I think let me check here. Tomorrow at 9, the swine show begins. So yeah, super busy week for us, and really exciting to see all the members in Codington County. So thank you
Great.
guys for inviting me. I appreciate it. So
Thank you for
Thank
coming.
you for coming,
Great update.
giving that
Appreciate it.
report. We look forward to coming out there and checking that out. It is always fun to see what sort of projects they've done. All right, next then, let's move on to Veteran Service Report with Todd. He does have some information in our packet, but
Morning,
good
Todd.
morning, Todd.
Good morning, everybody. We'll start off with 4 DAV van transports for July. We only currently have one scheduled in August. I did talk to the state DAV office about our van, and I just got an email back yesterday. They were at the national convention, and they're looking at September. And the reason why it got delayed so much is that, of course, with Corona, the backlog on the connects for Ford to build them, that was what the delay is. So they're looking at September right now for that. And we still have 11 qualified drivers. We did get the new computers in the office. We're still working out a few of the bugs. We did do a few faxes, and we figured out how to get so we know that the faxes went out. We didn't know for sure, so we sent one like 3 times yesterday, but that's all right. And we really like the new setup. We got 2 of the smaller ones in the office. They are able to fax from both offices, scan, print. Peg really likes it. And Peg is also getting her new computer installed today. That's why I was just a little bit late. So that'll be up and going there too. We continue to work to become paperless, but I'm not sure that we'll ever totally be paperless in our office. It's really tough when somebody comes in and they bring a few documents and they bring another few documents, and then 2 weeks later they bring in some medical records, be whatever. So we continue to establish hard copy folders, but we are in the process, and we just kind of started that. Anybody that we had records on file for, we've scanned all the DD-214s in hard copy to our computer, and now Peg is gradually going through, starting at A, and she's verifying that what is in their hard copy is in our VetraSpec file, and then once that's done, she'll call the veteran or mail that file back to the veteran. That will eliminate, hopefully.
That's okay. Just keep going.
No,
Sorry.
hopefully, so we're not a storage facility for all the
No.
records.
No, don't shut the door.
Don't shut the door.
We can't shut it.
Yeah, it's okay. Just ask him to be a little quieter out there. That's all. Thank you. Yeah. Sorry about that.
Okay, no, that's fine. Just tell me to stop next
No,
time.
it's okay. Just keep going.
It-
It's fine.
Anyway, so that's what we're trying to do there. I did provide some VetraSpec numbers, and again, right below there, VetraSpec is our main software that we interact with the VA on for compensation, pension, burial claims, also miscellaneous stuff. Last year from 1 January 20 to 31 July of 20, we had 68 interactions. This year from 1 January to 30 July, we had 173. So people are getting out and about and are coming in. So that's a positive thing there. Future issues, selection of the Codington County Veteran of the Year. That'll be done tonight by the commanders of the local veterans organizations. I already have the trophy on order. I will be gone 16 through 19 to the state VSO certification and meeting here to Pier in August. We will have a booth at the Watertown Annual Veterans First Responder Appreciation Day on the 16th of September at the National Guard Readiness Center. Also, current plans for Veterans Day of 2021 will be coordinated, as always, by the VFW Post 750. It will be held at the Watertown High School Civic Center. They will be conducting school that day, but they talked with the school and the VFW and the other organizations, and they thought it would be a good time to host that event, putting the veterans in front of the kids. So really, that is it. Is any questions of me?
Right, that is a good idea. They used to do that when my kids went to dual. They actually had the veterans program in the auditorium with all the kids. So that is a good idea.
Like it. Thank you.
Thank you,
Have
John.
any-
You bet.
thank
Have a good
John.
day.
You
Good
too.
rundown.
Thank you. All right, so we do have Sarah here. Should we do her budget request and then we'll go ahead and take care of that now? And has Luke jumped on yet? Okay, oh, okay, now I see it. Morning, Luke. Hopefully we can hear each other. Good morning, Sarah.
Good morning.
Well, Sarah,
Good morning. Yeah, here for the welfare department budget. I've been working on trying to get things kind of sorted out, and I think it's where it's at right now, I guess.
what page is that on? Today? Have you-
Oh,
have you
it says
We had to put
page
new
one.
we had to put new pages in for, it'll be cared for on
care
the
of for.
tabs. It's about halfway through your.
It's just follow through on the department heads. It's one of the last.
So Cindy, is what I'm showing on the screen, is that updated? Is that the updated version or is there?
No, that is
No.
not updated.
pages?
Nope, I knew.
There you go.
Okay.
We just did the reports yesterday and I never thought to give them to you. So there are a few changes. Not a lot, Sarah.
Yeah.
Well, we can compare, so you can leave
I'll
that
go
up
through.
and we can kind of compare.
So that was what I initially requested, and then so the overall the total increase is 9% for the year. Personnel is 7%, and then the other large portion would be a potential like remodeling issues where it would go through. So for personnel, what we're looking at, part of the delay was working on the contract with ICAP, looking at reducing the ICAP contract hours to 15 hours, and then a large portion of the increase of salaries. It's obviously due to the wage study, but in addition to that would be increasing Carrie's hours up to 29 hours. And so that's an additional 10 hours. And because of all the work she's doing with CARES, that's where a majority of her time has been. And most of those funds are made up. All of those funds actually are made up through the time that she's spending in CARES. So that would offset that increase, but it won't show in my budget with that. So that's that increase. It's up to 96,688 under the salary for the increases there. And then just the normal increases for Medicare, retirement, health insurance. That would be my health insurance increase, dental insurance increase. So that's what those increases are all for, are just the standard increases there. For a total personnel of 122,607 with that. And then the other increases in the rest of the budget, it's actually a decrease in the care for professional services, because that would be the decrease in the ICAP contract. So we went from 39,000 budgeted this year to 22,620 budgeted for next year. And then I'm just gonna jump over the rest because there's no change in most of those, or minimal change. The homeless rent is a little bit increased due to the apartment that we have now. And then the office repair is a big jump. That's 21,650. That's an estimate based on some of the quotes I've gotten, and that would be remodeling our office space so that we can accommodate some additional people coming from ICAP, and there's some other potential options there. And so we're looking at options in the city auditorium. We did meet with TK from the Park and Rec last week and had some conversation. They're open to us doing some things, and so it would be a matter of figuring out what the costs actually are when talking to the city about that. And then the rest of the budget is pretty minimal increase. Office supplies just were way low this year. We needed way more this year. We've had to draw from other areas for that, and the rest is pretty much the same. Office travel has decreased. I don't anticipate as much office travel with that, and the rest is all the same. So a total budget of 415,277,000.
Right. Any
And
other
that's a
questions?
7% increase.
It's a total of a 9% increase.
7% personnel.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right.
Any questions?
Just so the folks realize that they're looking at the budget on the screen, so this is not what Sarah said is updated from what they're seeing on the screen, but it's just what I'm able to project right now.
Right.
On the screen.
Yep. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right,
thank
thank you. You
too.
too. Thanks, Sarah. All right, we have Luke on the line, so let's also have him go over his budget as well. And then we do have item number 8, resolution. We'll have information from.
Are you ready for me?
Yeah, Luke, we can't hear you.
Oh, good. We're having issues again with sound.
Hang on.
Put him on the cell.
I can call him and with my cell and do that way.
That would probably save.
There is a way to do more than one on there, but I have not had a chance to test it out, so.
Don't try it.
Which,
Okay.
Not today.
It's an orange one.
See what I said earlier?
It's an orange one.
I had it all ready to go. a few weeks ago, and then
Not orange.
Okay, Luke, I'm gonna give your cell a call. Just so you know what one I'm calling.
Do I have the right budget page up? Cindy, come over to there.
yes, you do. You do. Yes.
I'm here, Brenda. I had to turn down my computer screen so I don't get feedback.
Very good. We can hear you. Can everyone hear you?
By a mic.
I don't know. I put him by mine.
Oh, okay, you did. All right.
All right, Luke.
All right. Good thing we got that figured out. I'm going to go ahead and just go through that budget request here, and then I'm going to just give you a couple of rough numbers that I updated just for current where we sit as a county as far as issuing building permits. I didn't do as full of a report because I didn't print something off, but let's look at that budget amount. First of all, I'll just talk about total personnel services on that, which includes cost of board member and administrative assistant salary, which is unchanged from last year on that request, 5,416. That number includes the amount that we pay the planning board members, which if you are paying attention to like past amounts spent, that would be that increase is due to paying the planning board members a little bit more on there. Going down the line there, I'm going to go through a couple of the things, and I'll typically include something. Do you have? I share. Do you mind if I share the sheet that I put together, Cindy and
They've
board
got
members?
it.
Can I put that on the screen?
They've got it.
We have
They
it.
do. Okay.
They haven't.
Then I then I'm not gonna worry about it then.
Okay.
I will just go ahead and read off of it then. So, planning board services, that's basically the salary having first district operate as the zoning officer. It does include, it's figured to be right on even 30,000. That does account for a $2 an hour increase. And honestly, I'll tell you that was planned for last year's budget. And then when we all got sent home, the expectation was that we were going to have a decrease in building permits. Therefore, probably didn't feel right to increase it at that point, despite the fact that that's basically what we've been charging other communities that we're providing the same service for. So we updated it this year to cover the same fee. As it turned out, of course, we had a lot of wind towers and that sort of thing, so it would have been irrelevant. But bottom line is, there's update that fee to match what we're doing with others. The $3,000 in publication. I want to make one point here is that in doing the budget standpoint, I've tried to keep up as far as where some of that money goes, and that publishing gets split between a couple of different categories. And so I put all of the budget in this, but it actually does get spent a little bit differently. But typically that number does wind up in that range by the time the two are combined. Mailing costs, and all those tried to keep relatively similar, although I did decrease down frankly about 30%, because I have only, if you look in the past, have only spent that 1,200 mark once in the past. So going through there, the only other large number on that list is going to wind up being, of course, the dues for first district. Todd did want me, the director of this office, want to point out that this is purely an estimate as to what it'll be for that year, because that will start the new due structure for the first district. And at this point, we don't have one. It's got to be adopted by our governing body and locked in. And that is based typically off of populations, things like that. However, for budget standpoint, he recommended just kind of to figure a 3% increase, which more than likely will overshoot what those dues will be. Overall, from a standpoint of operating budget, this is going to, taking those dues out of there, the total increase winds up, once I've accounted for the increase in zoning officer cost, and then taken out for, frankly, money we're not spending on certain things, it accounts for a $600 increase. So overall, which is a 1.6% increase from the 2021 budget. Generally, we're covering about 90% of operating costs of the office through zoning permits. I'm taking out those building permit fees that we got out of wind towers over the last 2 years, which obviously shot us way above there. But we're not counting on that every year. So expectation is they'll probably be somewhere in 90 to 95% covered just by building permits and zoning fees. And so, as you're well aware, the expenditures for the department have been far less than the permits have been generated over the last 13 years that we've been doing this. Frankly, 13 years I've been doing this. Before that, I think Todd was here for 4 years. So, are there any questions of me?
Have any questions?
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Luke.
Let's move on then to item number 8, action to approve a resolution of the Nick and Matt Kranz edition. Luke, you want to give us information on that? We had information in our packet as well.
Sure, I can. That plat, I am going to pull it up just for my sake on my computer too. That plat is called the Nick and Matt Kranz edition in the southwest quarter of Section 4 in Sheridan Township. This would have been before you a little bit sooner, but there's a little bit of misunderstanding here just between the applicant and myself as to how they want to handle this. This is a property that was granted an existing farmstead exemption straight south of, let's be colloquial here, and we'll just say it's straight south of Walmart. The intersection that is there and where you would go on the south bypass rather than following that bypass back to the west to go to the ethanol plant, you would go straight south another half mile. That's where this is. It is the south farm there for the Kranzes. They're looking to sell a portion off for residential purposes at this point. I will point out, just for what it's worth, they were granted the farmstead exemption, but the board needs to be aware there are 2 houses on that property today. The Board of Adjustment put a condition on that farmstead exemption that they're okay with the 2 houses for now until this plat would be recorded. And this plat would only be recorded for the purposes of transferring property, which seemed logical, given that obviously those 2 houses were permitted to the Kranzes in some way, shape, or form, and on the basis that it was an operating farm. Clearly, once it gets sold, if it's sold in a 15-acre tract, it's no longer being operated as a farm. So that's where the condition came in. So once the intent is to once this plat gets recorded, then there's 1 year from that date to get rid of one of those 2 houses. And so with that, Planning Commission did recommend approval as long as that condition is adhered to. And I do want to point one thing out just for what it's worth. Because of that condition, the applicant is going to hold this plat after approval. I've noted to them that basically we'll have this calendar year is how long that decision will be good for, because all the signatures will essentially expire after the calendar year is turned. So they're well aware that they have to do it this year, otherwise they'll have to come back to you. That's it.
Very good. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
Motion by Gable. A second? I'll second that motion. Do we have any other comments or questions?
I have some. I've been approached by several people on this particular plot. All surrounding areas on all 4 sides, all the people are against it. They don't like it. They don't want it. I realize the planning board, the zoning board, commission approved it. I don't know how many of the other commissioners were approached by the adjacent landowners, but they have some serious reservations on this particular plot. And at the very least, I would like to see this postponed for a matter of 2 weeks for those people to come and get public hearing if they wish to hear.
Luke, did you hear what Charlie was saying?
Not in particular. I do believe that what he's referencing is something that is not allowed on this property. That I wanted to point that out too in discussion is that right now, what was before the board was solely going back in time here. Was at that Board of Adjustment meeting, it was made clear that the only thing that was acted on and that this plat would do is to authorize property to be transferred for residential purposes. That is single-family residential purposes. Any future permits that are being discussed by the person looking to buy the property, frankly, were not something that could be discussed at that meeting because there was no request before the board, and rightfully so, because based upon rumor that I've heard, the thing that the individual wants to do is not allowed or nor listed in the county's ordinance. And so that individual is aware that in order to do so, there would have to be an amendment to the zoning ordinance. And that's why at the Board of Adjustment, great lengths were taken to make sure that that was not discussed, because obviously that would lead us down the road of ex parte communication and potentially jeopardize any decision that the Board of Adjustment made. Now, to Commissioner Waterman's point, could we just postpone this until some final resolution was made on whether or not such a thing is allowed? And again, I'm referring to it as a thing because what I've heard in terms of what the potential buyer wants to do on this property includes kind of an omnibus of things that frankly, as I said, our ordinance doesn't allow. So for us to sit back and wait to find out if something may be allowed in the future, that kind of would go along the lines of it could put things off a long time. That said, you certainly could postpone any action on it until you're well aware that any decision has been made, and it's not going to be. But it becomes a circular issue if you do that.
Luke, what we're approving today is the variance, not the project that we've heard.
I want to be clear. What you're approving today is simply a lot that is smaller than a quarter section that could be transferred, yet still retain one residential building right to keep one house on this property. That's it. It does not authorize any use of this property other than either A, to farm, or B, to have one house. The board already approved that the ability for one house and or ag purposes on a 15-acre lot here, nothing else. And so anything else would require future Board of Adjustment approval. And based on what I've heard in the past, the future Board of Adjustment approval would require a whole-scale ordinance amendment to be approved by both the city and county elected bodies. So there's a long road ahead for anything other than a house with farm, or without farm for that matter.
Okay, thank you. I too have been contacted by some of the neighboring residents, so I'm glad you brought that up, Charlie. But that's not the issue at hand today. So
That is not at all. This is just the farms for the single dwelling or farming operation. All right,
we have a motion.
any other comments yet? We have a motion and a second, so we just need to vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Aye.
One opposition. Do we need to call?
We need to call the roll because there was
Because
one
of-
no vote.
yep.
So Gable,
Aye.
Waterman,
Nay.
Johnson,
Aye.
Van Duzen,
Aye.
Hanson.
Aye.
Okay, that motion passes 4-1.
All right. Okay, I don't, go ahead.
Commissioner Hinton, could I just want to make one point, and I'm sorry to double back. I meant to catch you before you jumped onto this one, but I just wanted to make one point with regards to after the budget. I just want to let you know where we stand in terms of permits for the year. I'm not going to throw anything on the board here, but I more or less just wanted to quickly reference we're issuing a lot of building permits. Not as by number, it's obviously not going to look as impressive given the last 2 years of revenues that we've had due to wind towers and also the number due to that. But I do want to point out, without any wind towers having been issued this year, through June, we had issued 61 building permits. And I want you to keep in mind, not counting wind tower permits, last year we issued 80 building permits. So by the time we get done with August, more than likely we will have issued more building permits for non-wind tower related things than we did all of last year. The other item to point out is that total construction value, and these are just numbers coming out of the ether to you, so I mean, I'm not expecting you to remember them. Total construction value at this time is $11.7 million in the county, and that's again through June. That accounts for a total revenue and building permits of $21,257 in building permits. The reason I'm mentioning all this is, again, through June, we have in the neighborhood of probably the 5th highest construction season we've ever had. And that's not prorated through a year. That's just literally, we've ranked already as the 5th highest construction season we've already had in this county. The other thing that I want to point out with that is different than we've seen is that a lot of that is residential construction, and it's construction within the joint area. Typically, we're since we started having joint jurisdiction in 2015, the number of permits we've seen in the joint area has been between 12 and 25%. This year it's 48. So that gives you the idea as to where some of that construction is going on. Not shocking given the trend that we've seen in the state of South Dakota, but I just kind of want to give you an idea that we're busy and it's taking a while to get back to folks. So just kind of give you that idea. So that's all I had. If anyone's got any more questions, go ahead and let me know.
It's awesome.
Thank you, Luke.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Luke.
Thank you, Luke. Thanks for the report. All right, then let's move on to item number 9. And Carol is here, action to authorize closure of treasurer's office on 8/25/2021 for training of staff. She sent us some information prior, and I will just let her explain. Okay. Okay.
What's gonna happen is the weekend after Thanksgiving, this is the plan. Weekend after Thanksgiving, they're gonna roll out a new software for our.
Yep, thanks.
There we go. Sorry about that.
Thank you.
On Thanksgiving weekend, they're gonna roll out a new software for our division motor vehicle licensing software. This will be the first major update since July 2008, and we all know that went really well. So they're doing a much better job this year, this go around, making sure that training is available. One of the things they're going to do for us is they're going to allow Watertown to be a site for one of the regional trainings. What I want to do is have my staff attend that as a group on Wednesday, August 25th. We're going to take the afternoon session from noon until 5. If it winds up earlier, we'll come back, but just to make sure everybody is aware that we're going to be closed, I'd like the board to approve that scheduling, if that's all right.
I'll make a motion to approve that.
All right, we have motion by Van Duzen, second by Waterman. Any other questions or comments? We'll get this out to the media and
Yes, very much. So.
get that
Should be a
posted.
public service announcement, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's certain, everybody knows.
Carol, just for clarification, will you be closed just the afternoon then?
We're going to
Noon
be
to
closed the
5?
afternoon
Okay.
on Wednesday, and that's the bit that Wednesday will be the quietest of the 2 days. So
Yeah, okay.
that's why we picked that one.
Noon to 5 on Wednesday, August 25th.
Correct.
Okay.
Very good.
All right. Thank you.
All right, we, any other questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
Carol.
Thanks, Carol.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. All right, item number 10, action to approve a project to complete a chip seal project at Memorial Park and.
Madam Chair, Steve talked to me about this and asked me if there was any questions, I would, but basically we used to have McLaughlin Schultz here in town. McLaughlin Schultz has been sold to Dunnick Brothers. Then they no longer do chip sealing. So at that time when McLaughlin Schultz had it, we could do a project at Memorial Park by doing 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, or 1/2 1 year, 1/2 the other year, and spread out the cost. We have 3 paving chip seal companies in the area, one in Mobridge, one in Yankton, and the other one in Ortonville, which is the bid before you. They suggested doing it all at once, but I believe Steve talked to you, Cindy, about paying for the other part next year.
It's entirely up to the vendor if they want to wait for their payment.
Yeah, and the vendor did suggest that. I would save some staging costs and things like that for us. And they could get in and get it done. And they agreed to do the whole project for the $52,330.20.
So just so I understand correctly, we would pay half of that this year and then
Well,
half next year would come out of the next
proposal.
budget?
That's Steve's proposal, yeah.
And that proposal came from Bituminous Paving, because Steve said it's not in my budget. And then they suggested, this is what they do with other entities that are a ways away. They do the whole thing and then they bill the other half in the following year.
Okay.
Did I hear you say it's not in his budget?
It isn't in this.
Yeah, that's what I
this is
thought.
a budgeted item.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not the whole
Not the
amount.
whole-
The balance will be a budgeted item next
Sure.
year.
Yep.
Because he was planning on doing it in phases, and they're willing to do it all in one, and then,
Cindy, is there any issue with that?
Nope.
No?
My understanding is that they can actually get it done yet this summer or fall.
Well, we'd like to get that done after the camping season has gone down for obvious reasons.
Says after September 14th.
Yeah.
And so to fit it and get it on their schedule, Steve asked that we act on this today.
I'll make a motion, unless you've already done it, Charlie, but I'll make a motion to approve that request.
And I will second that.
all right, so we have a motion and a second. Do you have any other comments, questions? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? That motion carries. All right, so let's move to item number 11, action to approve a notice to bidders for corrugated metal pipe. That would be Rick.
Morning,
Good
Rick.
morning, Rick.
Hey, Rick.
Morning. This is just to rebid the metal pipe part of our supply bid that we did this spring. Being True North Steel, the prices have went up. So we basically got to bid it so we can go in and negotiate a price on pipe if we don't have a bidder, so. Just part of.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion by Gable, second by Waterman. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that motion carries. Thank you, Rick.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Rick.
Thank you, Rick.
Item number 12, action to approve a property tax abatement application.
We have a property tax owner who qualifies for a state program. Has been approved by the treasurer's office. The applicant does qualify. Total taxes due on this piece are $2,901.90. The estimated abatement would be $1,754.34.
Move to approve.
Motion by
Second.
Johnson, second.
Second.
Second by Waterman. Sorry, Lee. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Item number 13, I don't know, we can maybe take this off since we're kind of looking at other office space over there until we get this decided, then we'll put it back on. Item number 14, action to approve a resolution restating national or nationwide deferred compensation matching plan.
So this is one of our supplemental retirement plans, and periodically they require us to restate our plan. So this is just a resolution to go along with what we've been doing before, and it requires the board to pass a resolution. Nothing has changed. It's to satisfy the IRS and make sure we're in compliance.
All right.
Motion to approve.
Motion by
Second.
Gable, second by Van Duzen, sorry. Any other questions, comments?
And we have done this several times in the past 20 years.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? That motion carries. All right, item number 15, discussion possible action to pass a resolution to enact a ban on open burning. We have Jamie here. Call him up, fill us in what's happening.
Bet I know what you're gonna say.
Right on Friday night.
Good morning.
Good morning, Jamie.
I'll start with US Drought Monitor remained unchanged since last week. We did benefit by looking at the National Weather Service reports that I printed versus a week ago. We improved by about 4/10 in areas in the county, so we're
Good.
still fairly well, but it is dry. Looking at what the state climatology put out yesterday to all of us EMs, the drought monitor remained unchanged, but we're still 40% chances of being hot and dry through the month of August. And their prediction, and I'll say that again, prediction, is we're looking at some very high wildfire potentials through the month of August. But after visiting, I did respond to a couple fires, one over the weekend out by Wallace, which was a bale pile. And I believe, I don't know the
what caused that, but we lost about 35, 40 bales north of Wallace. And yesterday we had a piece of agriculture equipment that did light up a CRP that was being cut. So everything currently is really slow burning because we are still relatively green, but there's no wind that's been associated with these, but that could change any given day. We do have a shot tomorrow night of some moisture, and then again Friday night looks a little better.
One of the things that they released that CRP now, so there'll be a lot of pain of the CRP.
There is quite a bit.
That's a fire waiting to happen.
Yep.
Keep an eye on it.
And what was a bonus yesterday is a local farmer that was in the area combining his wheat actually had a water tank while being prepared and ready, was in the area, responded to that fire along with Florence, and ended up aiding them and getting that knocked down. They lost about maybe 3-4 acres, but looks of it. So
thanks for your help on that.
thumbs up to that, gentleman.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yep.
And anybody that's putting up the CRP might consider having some standby water or a tractor hook to a disc or something.
Correct. Yep. And we've seen a lot of that even in the area surrounding counties that I associate with closely with Dual and Grant County. They've had a couple of the same thing where people are prepared in the agricultural side of things while they're
We
doing
appreciate that.
Yep. And as always, if you do any burning, please call our local dispatch center at that 882-6210, because that's very crucial and beneficial on getting us to you as quickly as possible. We know where you're at. So,
Good.
Absolutely.
we're looking good for right now, but I say leave it on there weekly basis like we're doing just in case. Thursdays, the drought monitor, I get that typically in the mid-afternoon, and then now again coming in on Monday afternoons is the wildfire outlook out of the state climatology folks. So we'll just stay on top of it.
Sounds good.
Thank you, Jamie.
Thank you.
No
Leave
burn
things
ban.
alone for now.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Jim.
All right, item number 16, action to approve claims for payment.
None today.
17, automatic budget supplements.
We have one automatic supplement. We have expended some Homeland Security grant funds since the first of the year, and we have been reimbursed in the amount of $32,049.69, and we will supplement the emergency management budget with that amount. Just need a motion and a second.
Make a motion. Second.
Motion
Second.
by Johnson, second by Van Dusen, third by Gable. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Opposed, that motion carries. Item number 18, action to approve personnel changes. We have several of those.
This one's yours, Lee.
Maria Escamilla is a sergeant correctional officer, do a step increase to step 13, 25.85 per hour. Chandler Flowers is a correctional officer, do a 6-month step increase to 19.12 per hour. Kyle Lewis is also a correctional officer, do an anniversary step increase to step 5, 20.99 per hour. Kelly Ulrich is a correctional officer. She'll go to step 9, 23.10 per hour. Kayla Showmaker is a correctional officer, do a step increase to step 8, 22.75 per hour. Raceland Cheddar is a new correctional officer, do his 6-month step increase to step 2, 19.12 per hour. And Jeff Riley was hired at the highway department originally as doing maintenance around the shop and mowing. And he has been doing some truck driving, which you can see on the sheet there. So we need to take action. He will either be paid at a maintenance 1 rate of $14.75 or a maintenance 2 rate $18.72 per hour, depending on what he is doing. But because he's going to be paid 2 different rates, we do need to take action.
Is this a temporary employee?
Yes, it is
Okay.
seasonal, I believe.
Seasonal.
How do you,
Second.
Motion by Johnson, second by Waterman.
Sorry, Lee.
All in favor, say aye.
Oh,
Aye.
well. Aye.
I had a question, Brenda, before we voted, but that's okay. How do you determine, or how do we determine that for budgeting purposes, what pay grade he's in?
Could not answer that.
14 or 18? I mean, that's,
Well, he was hired is a seasonal employee at the $14 per hour. And then when we did payroll for July, we noticed that he was being paid a higher rate than the board approved. So I asked the highway department to provide another personnel change, and I don't know how they budgeted for it.
How is that, does it make it more does this make it more difficult when you do the wage, we did the wage study and the wage? the steps and
Not
everything?
so difficult because this is not a full-time employee. But we will need to watch when we get the numbers from the
Mhm.
highway to see how many hours at what rate, how many hours at another rate. So he is a seasonal employee. It's not a year round.
So we're leaving that up to the department head to determine.
Yes, the department head determines what rate he gets paid at.
Okay.
All right, so I'll maybe do the vote over, just because we had some that were ready and some maybe weren't so much. So all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, hearing none, that motion carries. Item number 19, action to approve travel requests.
None of those today.
Public notices, we have a couple of those. Sioux Valley Commissioner District Meeting, August 18th in Redfield, and then the Achievement Day is going on this week. 4-H barbecue being on Wednesday night. Tonight is also National Night Out, 6 p.m. Is that when that starts, Troy?
That's correct. Yeah.
So there could be a quorum of commissioners at that event as well. Does
hope
anyone
there
else
is.
have anything that they can think of?
Wednesday, there'll be a public committee.
Meeting at noon, yeah. Okay. All right, don't see anything else. Cindy, when do you want to do those other, go back up and do the nonprofits or mandates? We got everything pretty
And
much wrapped
that's up
up?
to the board. Do you want to just review them on your own in your binders? Do you want me to go through them? Most of them, let's see.
I was going through those, the only thing that, well, I was being lazy, like the changes. Like I noticed a couple of these have asked for additional dollars. And
The nonprofits.
Yeah.
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 And that would be beneficial if we would have that information. Who's asking for additional?
Well, usually.
Well, it is in your
Yes.
packet.
Yeah, it is. Yep, it's in
Most
here.
of them.
Yeah.
I
it's in
do,
here.
they do know to provide that.
Supporting documentation for the
Supporting
request.
documents, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, usually a balance sheet or something like that, so. Don't know if my stuff is in the same order. And after I dumped this on the floor last week, it's probably in worse shape. Let's see.
When I noticed really took a big jump with the public defender.
And that's based on the contracts they filed, so that is where those numbers came from for public defender. I believe it's either a 4 or 5 year contract, so that you accepted.
But I believe, is that coming to, are we coming to the end of that one?
I think next year is the last year, I believe, yeah. For the election budget, I did increase that because based on the past year, I would like to pay the election workers more than we have before. I haven't decided on the final amount yet, but I did increase that a little bit from last year. That's the election budget, the judicial systems budget. And like I said, I don't know what order yours are in. I think this would be considered a mandate.
Mm-hmm.
We just put that at the same amount as last year because frankly, no one fills this out except myself. We get frequent requests from the courts for additional things, but they have declined to accept the offer to fill out a budget worksheet. Let's see. So public defender, we kind of already covered that. It's a 2.8% increase. Court appointed attorneys, we left that at $250,000. just to cover ourselves there. We have had some high profile cases. The abused and neglected child defense, that is a mandate also. Catastrophic legal fee, we left at $50,000. That's the pool we belong to. If you have any questions, just stop me as I'm going through there. Predatory animal is a mandate for the state of South Dakota. I increased that about $500 over this year just to make sure we're covered. The unemployment insurance budget is, we budget $10,000 annually. That has sufficed to date. Can't always guarantee that. Watertown Transit left their request at $35,000. They are one of our nonprofits. Let's see. The coroner budget. I did have Terry Sorensen go through this, and he increased some things. He saw a need to purchase some additional supplies that we have not purchased previously, or we did not need previously. So that budget is up quite a bit. The Humane Society, for some reason, I don't have that one, but I believe they
Remains
have.
the same.
Yeah, it's in here.
Okay.
Remain the
For
same.
some reason, they remain the same. Okay, for some reason, I don't have a copy of it. But it could be because I dumped everything on the floor last week.
It's in there somewhere.
It's here somewhere. ICAP.
It's on the screen.
Okay, ICAP is a reduction, a slight reduction. And I don't remember, Brenda, do you remember the reason for that?
They go by population and kind of, so we were able to be reduced by,
We were previously paying about $15,882, and they reduced that to $13,835. So that budget is down a couple of thousand.
and I believe it's also because of the different things that the community has helped with as
Okay.
well.
So the general fund domestic abuse, we do have a domestic abuse fund that is based on fees we collect, divorce fees and their domestic abuse fees that we pay to the Beacon Center. Beacon Center has also requested $12,000 out of the general fund, which they have done for a number of years now, and they left that the same. Watertown Volunteer Center left their request the same at $2,500. Developmentally disabled, these are for the Codington County residents in the Redfield State Hospital, and $3,000 is what we estimate to pay there. The Mental Health Center, which would be the Human Service Agency, has budgeted for a mental health center, the Mental Health Center ATCO, and the Halfway House. And that is a 3% increase from last year at $92,173. And I believe there is a sheet attached to that from Kerry Johnson to back that up.
The only one I have a question on, it's probably not reading it right. Senior Companion Program.
Yep.
Total expenses for fiscal year 2021, $347,875.80.
I think that is what we have spent. That's what we have spent. Let me look at the current report here. Get to that quick. When we ran those reports, it was March. So I'm thinking that's a reflection of what we have paid through March, but let me get to it right now.
Senior companion program, Charlie.
Yeah.
There are 37,808.
Okay, let's see. Senior aid companion. They annually request $1,500. That is what we have paid them in 2022, and that's what they're requesting in that's what we have paid them in 2021, and they are requesting that again in 2022, $1,500.
Who, refresh my memory, who runs the program?
Oh, let's see, there's.
What's it through, or?
Kristen Fox, right?
Yeah,
Executive
Yeah.
Director.
yep, there is a backup sheet from from senior companions with that budget request. These funds, these local funds are used for the match required for their federal grant. The budget worksheet is Senior Companions is a federal, state, and local program. Our volunteers must be 55 or older and have limited income. So if you look at the supporting document, it'll tell you exactly what.
Okay.
There should be something there. For
And
that.
they're asked that $1,500 is to help pay for direct volunteer expenses, it
Yes.
says here.
The next one in my book is the Watertown Boys and Girls Club. And that amount is $57,126. There is also a support letter in there from Liz Christensen. The Zoological Organization, I believe they increased their amount.
Yeah, they did.
$2,000, was it? I think, let me see here.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah,
Okay. Like I said, my packet here is,
in the past, they've usually come up to the board and explained why they asked for an increase. And
yeah, they went from a $20,000 request to 2,200. They do have a cover letter in
It's got a
there.
letter in there.
now,
Yeah, on the Boys and Girls Club, can I make a quick comment?
Sure.
Yeah, so I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we're talking about the deflection coordinator that Brooke, that they've hired. And so for the latter part of the year, there's a bit of uncertainty whether or not that grant's going to carry forward. So I think that's what that increase is due to, mostly.
Yeah, that's part of the JDAI operational budget.
Correct.
Correct.
Since
That's gonna break down.
Since that grant is no longer going to be available, is that right? Or we've used the
Yeah,
grant
so
as
I
much
think
as we can.
Yeah, I think the grant's going to go through the current grant or the next iteration of the grant is only supposed to go through June or July of next year.
Correct.
I'm going off the top of my head.
No, you're correct. The flood monitoring stations, that is an amount we agreed to pay. The city pays a portion of that to the geological survey, and that is for flood monitoring stations north of Watertown. Tourism and Glacial Lakes, they have annually requested $750, and they left that the same. Focus Watertown Economic Development, $45,000 is the request from that organization. I believe they also have supporting documents.
Didn't we do, what was it, 5 years or whatever kind of commitment? Few years
yeah, I
back.
think we're in
Yeah, I'm
probably
not
year
sure where
3.
we're at in
Development
that
company.
capital improvement or
Mhm.
some kind of program, yeah.
Yeah.
So
It was in
anyway.
2018, so that's when we entered into that.
Like I said, if you have any questions when you look through your books, just give me a call and I can run through them with you. We have other mandates for mental health, Board of Mental Illness, that type of thing. So that should cover it. I think
That should
we've
be all of
covered the
Yep.
budgets that we have received.
Thank you for doing that, though.
Better just to go through it sometimes.
Yes.
No, none on that. board,
Um,
no. The
On that
development
note
company.
too, the senior companions, they're having their annual event. It's here in Watertown on Friday, this Friday, August 6th at 10:30. I've typically been going and representing the commission at that. I don't know if anybody else wants to go and do that this year. It is at the Elks Lodge at 10:30, and then they have a lunch. So if anyone else wants to do that, I will continue. Just let me know. Make an appearance there. All right, any old business? Any new business? Anything for the open?
We do have a tax deed sale scheduled for first thing next Tuesday. Piece of property that we took by tax deed proceedings in the town of Wallace, so that will be coming up. Other than that, not a lot on the agenda yet for next week.
Also, this is the month with 5 Tuesdays, so we won't meet that last Tuesday. Excuse me, the 31st. So,
Right, and then
just
in
FYI.
September, there will be a number of us that will be at conference in Rapid City.
12th,
So that will be the 13th and the 14th. Normally, the board does not meet the week that we have conference, so.
All right. Anything else?
And
We
then
have no-
we do also have our district meeting in Redfield on August 18th.
Yeah.
Oh, you probably already mentioned that,
That's all
sorry.
right. Sorry to mention again. I don't think we have a need to go in an executive session. All right, then.
Thank you, everyone.
For a
Move to
motion-
adjourn.
All right, motion by Johnson,
Second.
second by Van Duzen.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Again.
Aye.
Aye.
Stand down there, Lee.
Any opposed? We are adjourned. I don't think anyone's gonna